Beware of amygdala hijacking. So, amygdala hijack, this is a term that was coined by Daniel Goleman. And I'm not going to speak of it in too much technical detail because I'm not a neuroscientist. And this is a term that is used in that field. But I'm going to explain it in a layman sort of way so that you can use this basic understanding to help you in day-to-day life. So when sensory input is coming in to our brain, there is a direct connection to a part of our brain called the amygdala. And there's also other ways that the information is processed. I believe this is through our hippocampus and other parts of the brain where that sensory input can be in some sort of way compared to past experiences, and it can be processed. However, the direct connection to the amygdala is a sort of quicker and sort of lower resolution input, and this bypasses that processing that I mentioned. And the reason that this happens, or at least the reason it's believed to happen, is so that if there's a threat, that we can be aware of that threat or react to that threat as quickly as possible, even quicker than we have time to process it and think about it. It's a direct line right to the amygdala. And the amygdala, when it's activated in this sort of way, it creates a sort of fight or flight mode. So this happens before we even have time to understand what is going on. And when this amygdala hijacking happens, when the amygdala becomes active, it hijacks the brain in the sense that blood, which is normally in the brain, is more brought down into the body, the arms and the muscles and the heart and different parts of the body, so that we can not think and we can react quickly. Because if there's a serious threat that's happening very quickly, then we don't really have time to stop and think about how we're going to react. We just need to react in order to survive. So this is like a survival mechanism. Now the issue is that we don't often face serious threats in modern society, at least in many parts of the modern world. Not necessarily all of them, but I'm in the United States, and in most Western society, we don't deal with serious threats like an animal coming to attack us, or somebody trying to murder us, or some sort of serious threat, right? So what happens is the sensory input, it hits the amygdala, and in most cases when this happens, since we don't often come against actual threats, this is a misinterpretation of the information. Now, once the blood has gone to the other parts of your body, it's actually drained out of your prefrontal cortex. This is where we do most of our deep thinking, or most of our complex thinking is in our prefrontal cortex. Now, because there's a kind of a catch-22 here. This is what the amygdala hijacking is. The amygdala now, because it has brought the blood out of the prefrontal cortex and it has put it in the rest of the body, it's more difficult to actually come to terms that there's no serious threat, because you are in a situation where you don't have the abilities of the prefrontal cortex. So you're kind of stuck in a situation where you can't really think your way out of it, and you're in a fight or flight mode. So this can happen when we're in an argument. This can happen when somebody says something that hurts us. This can happen when something goes wrong at work. This can happen when someone cuts you off in traffic, right? There's all different times when we get that sensory input and then it causes this amygdala hijacking. Now, this is kind of like when people are seeing red, or you might notice a tenseness in your arms. Maybe your hands are kind of tensing up. Maybe a hotness inside of you. You might feel different feelings. This is actually a good exercise too. If you notice this amygdala hijacking happening, it's good to be aware of what sensations you are experiencing, because when you become aware of those experiences, even though it's more difficult to be aware during amygdala hijacking because of the lack of blood in the prefrontal cortex, this is something that you can work on and become more aware of, and then you have more signs that you're experiencing an amygdala hijack. So what do you do when this happens? Well, like I said, you can't really say you're having an argument with somebody. Well, you can't really get anywhere in the argument because you don't have the prefrontal cortex operating properly. So trying to sort of push through that argument, trying to win that argument, trying to figure out what's going on. Even if it's not an argument, let's say at work, you make a mistake, you might break something by accident. Instead of just like pushing through and trying to figure it out, it's going to be more difficult to figure it out if you're having an amygdala hijack. So what do? It's actually really simple. But the most difficult part of this is just realizing that this is happening to you. So the first key is just realizing that, wait a minute, I'm having an amygdala hijacking. It's going on right now. What you do is you try to find some sort of way to calm down. That could be going in another room and just lying down for a few minutes or however much time it takes. That could mean doing some breathing exercises. That could mean meditating. It could mean listening to some relaxing music. It could be anything that is self-soothing. Because once you go and you do that activity, you'll allow the perception of the danger to go down, and you'll allow the body to relax, and the blood will be distributed back up into your brain and your prefrontal cortex over that period of relaxation. And that's what you do. That's the intelligent thing to do. That's the practical thing to do if you're having an amygdala hijacking. And another way we could call an amygdala hijacking is we could say when you're seeing red, or when you're tensing up and you're angry. There's a lot of different ways you could think of it, but it's all that same effect. There's more technical jargon to this. If I said something that was a little bit incorrect about, the hippocampus or different parts of your brain, the main point of what I'm saying here is valid and correct. And if you want to learn more about this, you can look up online amygdala hijack. And it's a very interesting thing to learn about, because you're really just learning about yourself and how you work. So yeah, I hope this helps somebody. If you like this video, then please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe. If you know anybody who might like this, then please share it. If you have anything you want to say, then please comment down below. And if you want to get notifications whenever I drop new content, then hit that little bell button. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.